It has been about a year since UMW Oil and Gas rebranded itself as Velesto Energy. But has the clean slate translated into better business? We talked to President Rohaizad Darus about the company's metamorphosis and when he thinks oil will recover. It's coming up actually a year to the demerger. How has the journey kind of been? Because it's beyond just changing your name or the association. How has it been sort of like creating a new slate for yourself?
Okay. I think the journey has been very interesting. We are less pressured now. We are in a more optimistic state and can focus a lot more on business. We started off in early 2017 with 4.1 billion ringgit debt, and after the rights issues as well as after the refinancing, we end up with about 2.4 billion. And subsequently in March this year, due to the steady flow of revenue coming from our operation, we decided to put some of our reserve to repay back the debt and brought the debt down to about 1.4 billion now. So overall, from January 2017 until today, we are talking about reduction from 4.1 billion to 1.4 billion. So a significant reduction considering the DE ratio of January 17 at 1.41, and now we are down to 0.39.
So by the end of 2018, completely gone?
No, of course we still have to operate with a certain level of debt, but it's more manageable. But the important thing is that our financial structure now is very sound. We have addressed the main structural issue with regards to finance. Now it's about time for us to focus on business. And yes, for the last 6 months or so, we'll be focusing on business.
I think I've said this like a few times before that the recovery seems very uneven. But at the moment, it's optimistic. You know, oil is sitting like 81 and all this. Are you foreseeing this to continue, this enthusiasm to continue? Or are you just too jaded and think that, no, let's see how long it lasts?
Well, I'm quite optimistic that the recovery will continue. But I'm also cautiously telling myself that don't be too excited about a very sharp recovery. It's going to be gradual recovery. As you can see, the oil has been maintaining above $50 per barrel for more than a year already. It's almost 1.5 years now. But the whole issue is that as long the oil is above $50, it is well above most of the production costs of a lot of oil companies. Because of that, if it maintains above $50 for a long time, it will give a lot of confidence to the oil company to start investing.
Petronas' chief came out with a very strong message saying that don't be cocky, don't cheer yet. Does things like that sort of like worry your outlook? Because he himself is saying, don't celebrate.
Yeah, I think what he was saying actually, the recovery is there. He mentioned that there's an increase in the rig count for last year, and there's also an increase in the number of the oil price. But he also cautioned with regards to say, we need to operate on a new model. We cannot operate on the old model because
the old enthusiastic model.
Old enthusiastic model. So the new model is not saying that it will crash again or it will go down again, but the new model is you operate on the optimum, fit for purpose operation, so that you can weather whatever volatility that's going to happen. So I do believe that is a good advice because moving forward, there's a lot of global issues. There's a lot of supply and demand issues that's going on. But the good thing that I see is that in the last 4 months, there is a lesser impact on the negative and the positive, both on the side. The price don't drop too much. In the positive, there's the price don't jump too much. So it's been hanging around 70 to 80, which I believe has finally found a sweet spot.
Well, worldwide rig demand has improved. You mentioned yourself, right, 74% of rigs are all utilized. Yeah. But there still is, some analysts say, an oversupply of rigs which hurts rates. Doesn't that worry you?
Yes, it does concern me a bit because as of today, there is still 115 rigs globally that is still not working. That's a far cry from those days where more than 200 is not working. Nevertheless, with increased activities that we are seeing in Malaysia, increased activities, increased tendering that we are seeing in the Middle East right now. So for example, companies like Aramco, companies like ADNOC, then also even Qatar Petroleum has started to drill again. Slowly this kind of rig is going to be utilized. Another good news that people might not realize is that every 5 years, all these marine vessels, whether it's supply vessel, tugboat, rigs and so on, have to go for 5 years re-certification. And this certification is costing a lot of money.
Okay.
Yeah, for rig it will be 10 to 15 million US dollar, which have to be depreciated over 5 years. So if you don't foresee your 30 years old rig, for example, I don't have one, but if you have 20 years old rig, 30 years old rig, your cost is going to be much higher than that, first of all. Second is that, are you going to spend that amount of money to be depreciated over the next 5 years, knowing that the rate that we are getting right now is not going to be very
good as well.
good. So therefore, that explains why in the last 2 years alone, almost 50 rigs has been scrapped. So 16 in 2017, and I think about now it's about another 30 plus. I don't have the final number, but the last number I have about 31. So it's the scrapping amount of the rig has been increasing. So what will happen is that as the idling rigs start moving to work again, there's also the older one who are not being able to work because of the situation that I mentioned to you just now.
Yeah, yes.
And this will create a bottleneck in the supply. And we hope with that, the price will start increasing.